countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Hello and welcome to the 64th episode of ToyCast, sponsored by BigBadToyStore.com, where you can save from 20 to 90% on over 1,000 items. I am your host, TFCon Mike, and joining me is the goddamn Proto Man and Jaws Deadeye. Hey guys, how's it going?
I'm great.
I'm doing good.
Very cool. And this is the TFCon 2010 edition of ToyCast. I was gonna have Proto Man come on and basically just rub in my face all the crap I missed.
Well, I'm just gonna give like a report, like what happened after the show and everything. Friday was pretty cool because we had the pizza party. One of the Friday regulars who always brings a cake every year, Ultra Primal, he brought a mysterious cake, and when he revealed it, it was a hot rod cake, which was absolutely awesome. It was like the flame chest and everything. What else? Well, then we had the animated trivia contest. We had how to draw robot faces, which was done by Goober and Ninjatron. We had the parts trading party, which was very successful this year. It was very busy. Even Vangelis, he had a little table. He was selling his BotCon exclusives. And he had his buddy Aaron with him, who was someone who came up from the States. So he had a whole bunch of, because you guys get figures before we do. So he had all the Generation figures and all the Power Core combiners that we didn't get yet. So he brought a whole bunch of those, and people were just, bugging him to sell those to people. The Friday was awesome. It's usually the icebreaker day. It was social. Derek Wyatt was there having a great time. He was doodling and drawing, and everyone was just having a really cool time, like always at TFCon. The Saturday, which is when everything pretty much kicks off, I was relegated to signing autographs for the comic book that I wrote, along with Alex Milne, colored by Josh Perez, and a whole bunch of other IDW staff, and give a shout out to Udon Zone, Matt Moylan, who did the layouts and the CG cover for the book. But yeah, I was relegated to doing signings and everything, so I didn't really get to enjoy the morning of the show. But there was a scavenger hunt going on. Activision was there with War for Cybertron in the Paris room, so people could play the game, test it out. They were giving out little dongles and stuff that you could, hang your name badges from. They didn't have many; those disappeared quickly. There was a Derek Wyatt panel. There was a Mark Ryan panel. There was a David Kay panel. Those were all full to the gills. There was autographs. There was, I know that Aronoff, one of the board members of TFW, he did a panel on Transformers that never were. So it was pretty much a giant panel about all the Transformer toys that never came out. And so he had a whole bunch of pictures of prototypes and stuff. So that was an interesting panel to watch. Then there was the costume contest, and wow, there was a crazy turnout for that. I mean, you could see it all over Facebook, all the different people. There was a girl who came in a Black Arachnia outfit.
Animated Black Arachnia.
Wow.
That was dead on to the character model. And I'm not over exaggerating. I mean, absolutely dead on to the hips, to the waist. I don't know. This girl is amazing. She did a dead on Black Arachnia. There was 2 Saris. There was G1 Shrapnel. There was, what else was there? There was an Ultra Magnus that actually transformed. I know that's crazy when you think about it, but there was. Pretty much the guy lied down and his feet transformed into the cab and stuff. Anyways, it's weird when I describe it, but you just got to kind of see it in practice, but it works. What else was there, Wendell? No, there was a Jazz.
Yeah, there's a guy dressed up as a Jazz. The same girl that dressed up as the animated Black Arachnia came back the next day as Bumblebee, and she just had a flock of kids following her, basically. Just kids dressed up in yellow, kids just like bugging out, like, "Oh man, it's Bumblebee!"
Yeah, it
And
was,
so
it
she
was
had
an
a lot of
animated
fun with that.
Bumblebee too.
Yeah.
And that one was also pretty well done. What else was there? There was also, I guess I should mention this. There was also the customization table that was going on, which leads to the customization contest. And this year, Chanformers, who's a legendary customizer in the TF community, specifically the Radicon, he brought, I swear, like, it's me, a guy named Dak, who's on the staff, and a guy named GM Fan. We're the judges. And when we saw his, it was like, okay, let's discuss second place. It was just, he completely destroyed because there was a lot of really nice entries this year.
What did he have, actually? What did he make?
His was the Omega Supreme.
Right, the really big one, or?
Yeah, the really big one.
Oh, okay.
He brought, I swear to God, it was like almost bigger than Fortress Maximus, transformable, like classics Omega Supreme. And and we're not talking like someone took like a bunch of toys and like painted them up and called it Omega Supreme, or took a pre-existing toy. He just scratch built every piece and made this amazing Omega Supreme that actually transforms and has a working track and everything.
Wow.
And it's sad because when you look at second place and third place, they're awesome, but they just pale in comparison to what Transformers brought. Second place was a newcomer to the con, another American who came down who wanted to check out the show, Plow King. He did a very unique idea, and me and Duncan and Chris, we all thought, like, yeah, this is really original. He did a alternators Kremzik.
Oh,
But
wow.
Hear me out. His alt mode, the car that they used, was the electric car, the Vibe. So Kremzik, whose electricity turned into an electric car, which was kind of smart for an alternator. and again, like, the pictures are online. He did an amazing robot mode that gets those Kremzik, like, visual cues. The vehicle mode is a dead-on alternator, so you wouldn't even be able to tell it's a Transformer toy because it just looks so good in its car mode. And it was just, again, a classic example of not taking a pre-existing toy and just painting it up. Is he just took a Vibe model kit and then he just worked his way up from there, and he made it into a transformable toy, which is, again, a lot of respect for that, because as much as I respect people who do repaints and everything, I really put above and beyond respect for people who engineer and scratch build their own Transformer customs. And that goes on to third place, which was Nemesis Predaking. Nemesis Predaking last year got second place with his animated Beast Wars Megatron. This year he came back. He got third place with his scratch-built animated Sorry, the older edition.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he made like pretty much a super articulated action figure, like super articulated with removable armor of Sorry, like her older Allspark fused form. And again, scratch build, painted by hand, all by himself. Amazing job. Some shout-outs go to other people. There was Malwave, who brought his Mega Man Transformer crossovers, which they work in practice. They're not awesome, but they're like, wow, some of those really work with specific molds. There was another guy who brought an Omega Supreme that was really cool. Someone did their interpretation of Cybertron using like a basketball. Even my girlfriend, she did a paper mache / pinata of Hot Rod. And she just, brought that to show off. And it was amazing. Like, there was tons and tons of entries, so many to choose from, but those were the three winners for sure, and they deserve their names mentioned. They got these gorgeous trophies that were donated by Hasbro. Pretty much Hasbro donated action figures to be used towards trophies. And so we made these beautiful gold, silver, and bronze trophies using Transformer characters, and they had a base and everything for second, third.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. What else? Well, then there were some other panels. One panel that I'm not too proud of, but I was kind of forced into it. There was the pairings panel, it was a panel because we wanted to do something for the female fans because TFCon every year gets a buttload of fangirls every year.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to do a panel for them. So usually because they write slash fiction, they love doing their, this character is in love with that character. So GM Fan wanted to do a panel for them about the official couples in Transformer history. And so he wanted me to help him with it because of my extensive out-of-the-box knowledge that would come with every answer. So I participated in that one. I wasn't too proud of it. Thankfully, there was no video recorded of that one.
Damn.
So there's no evidence. There's no evidence of it, even though I speak of it right now. But it was
At
a
least
very...
the first picture was quite entertaining, but then
Yes.
I left. I totally left. Sad to say.
The panel was very visual, let's just say.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there was the script reading, which I guess I'll mention now since we have Wendell here too.
Yeah, sure.
Every year at TFCon, whatever voice actor or voice actors that we get, we always arrange a script reading. So usually when we find out about the voice actor that we're going to be getting for that year, we spend the next 3 to 2 months that we have until the show to write a script with that said voice actor's characters, make a comic book of 6 pages to accompany that script to kind of like be an opening into the story that they're about to like read, and then auditions for congoers to also be a part of that script reading. So because we had David Kaye this year as one of our voice actors, he played Beast Wars Megatron and his 2 other Megatron interpretations, which were Galaxy Force and what was the other one, Wendell? Armada?
Wasn't he in Energon and Cybertron? Or
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
they only did the Armada, the Galaxy
Beast Wars one.
and the Beast Wars. And he played those 3 characters along with I think he played
Grimlock,
Grimlock,
Lugnut,
and his animated
Cliff Jumper, all those from animated, basically.
Yeah, all his animated characters too. And there was auditions for extra roles who could be along in this script reading for Jazz, Sentinel Prime, Blitzwing, Bumblebee, Black Arachnia, and am I forgetting
Megatron.
any? And Megatron.
Animated Megatron. Specifically.
Animated Megatron. And so it was a great turnout. There were some really talented people who actually got the roles, and one of them that's with us right now is the winner of Jazz, which is Wendell over here. Jaws Jedi. And his was pretty interesting because TFCon has been around for 9 years now, and we've actually never had a black person win a role. And the funny thing is that for years we've had black Transformer characters, if you will. We've had Blaster, we've had Tigatron, and we've had Jazz in the past, the G1 Jazz, but they've always been won by Caucasian people. And it's kind of ironic because last year, one of the most colorful, and I guess you could call the whitest individual we'd ever know, Goober, he won the role of Blaster, and it was kind of funny to see him do that role. And so then we had, we have animated Jazz, and we have the script reading, so the auditions went, and the finals were between Wendell over here, Jaws, and Vangelis. And keep in mind, David Kaye is the judge of all of this. He judges who's in, who's out.
Yes.
It's down to David Kaye and Meeson, right?
Meeson, who's the one. Well, Meeson kind of just tallies the scores and the names.
Okay,
but
right.
David Kaye's always kind of the final answer.
Mhm.
It's every year we always kind of rely on the voice actor to say, well, this person has talent, this person doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's really cool.
not in that sense. But
not so cruelly, I guess is the best way
I
to
don't
put
want
it.
Vangelis to come and kill me with a knife.
But
Hey, Wendell.
but-
Ah!
but it's just and so it got down to the finals, and the line was, what was the line? Do the line that you won.
What was it again? I can't believe I still sort of remember it. Oh, it was forget the Decepticons and dig the power of your own mind. That was the line, if I remember right. That was the line
and so you had to do it in a very Phil Lamar kind of jazz, and so you had Vangelis trying to do it, and then you had Wendell, and then even David Kaye's like, wow, I really hear Phil Lamar in Wendell's voice. And so he won it, and that was awesome. So Wendell broke the color barrier for TFCon. But then, like almost like 10 minutes later, a very talented guy
named Christian. His name was Christian.
He
I want
won
to give a
Sentinel
shout out
Prime.
to
Yeah, Christian, another a black guy, he won Sentinel Prime, and his Sentinel Prime is also equally as very well done.
because I remember when he had to go up for the second reading, basically Sentinel Prime's character is the Tick, and he goes up and he says, "I'm not just a Prime, I'm Sentinel Prime," and then he yells out, "Spooge!" And then like the whole crowd completely loses it, and he had it as a shoe-in for sure, and he was really really good.
Yeah, he was very talented also, and so the script reading goes, and it's a story, and the story, like, what was the story exactly, Wendell?
The story was Optimus Prime from animated series is the head Prime in the fiction in that particular thing, and then something happens where like a time warp, a time hole, a wormhole, or something dispersed through like 3 different dimensions, and then like all the Megatrons, all the 2 Megatrons like team up, or 3 of them decide to team up to take over the animated one, and it's up to Optimus Prime, Jazz, and Bumblebee to stop them, basically.
And mayhem ensues.
Yeah, mayhem and a lot of funny lines, a lot of really funny dialogue ensues. It was a really fun script reading.
Yeah, and it went extremely smoothly. It was hilarious. And again, if you kind of close your eyes and listen to it, it's like an episode of Animated, because we had David Kaye doing all his legendary lines and characters, including Beast Wars Megatron, just thrown in for good measure. Mm-hmm. And then you had a lot of talented people. Again, the people who were picked to do the other characters, they were the people that were the most suited for those. And every year, whenever there's a character audition, there's at least like 10 to 15 people auditioning who feel that, they should be Black Arachnia, or they should be, Sentinel Prime. And we always try to pick the best of that really matches those original characters. And it was very well done this year. And for anyone listening, if they want to watch the script reading, on Vangelis' channel, he actually recorded the entire thing in very good quality, so you can catch it and get an idea of like how we do things at TFCon.
I don't know, but I may look up on Vangelis' channel the video for that, and I may link it in the website post for this episode of ToyCast. That way people can, see this thing.
Yeah. And then after the script reading, which is mainly the reason why I have to constantly ask Wendell about it, was because I was actually preparing for the panel after that, which was the history of Transformers in video games. And that was a panel that I was hosting, and it was going to be pretty much me standing up there for an hour talking about the unknown history of Transformers. And again, thanks to Vangelis and pretty much sacrificing all his bit space on his channel, Vangelis uploaded an hour-long single YouTube video of my entire panel in its entirety.
It's a good thing he's a partner.
Yeah, he's a partner, so he gets that kind of pull. And he actually, one single YouTube file, 1 hour long, start to finish of my entire panel. And so if you really want to find out about the really nitty-gritty stuff that people didn't know about Transformers and video games, I'm up there talking for an hour. I brought examples, videos, all kinds. I guarantee everyone listening to this, there's tons of stuff you've never heard of, easily.
Awesome.
So that's also on Vangelis' channel. After that, we had, we every year we always try to have a group photo of all the people on the boards together. Then we do a showing of a choice of Transformer movie by voting. This year, obviously, Transformers the 1986 movie was voted to be shown this year.
Thank God.
Well, let's just say Revenge of the Fallen didn't do well in the polls.
Well, no.
So, and because it was 2010, we kind of wanted to have that Rodimus theme still, so we wanted to play it that year. And then at 8 o'clock...
you jury-rigged the voting protocol.
Oh, yeah, I rigged the voting. I rigged the voting. I rigged the cake. The cake, too. That was all my scheme, of course. Tasted like Chosen One. Anyways.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyways, then we had... another thing that we started doing this last year, and it was a really big success. At 8 o'clock, at 8 p.m. at night, we had the faction feud, and the faction feud is the big trivia contest for TFCon. But what it's done in a family feud kind of style, where teams of 4 go up there and they're asked specific questions, and there's the whole. It's done family feud style, where you could pass or steal. So there'll be a question like name all
the
5
parts
unique.
of Bruticus.
Yeah. Name 5 parts of Bruticus. Obviously, something like that's very easy, but that's just something going off the top of our head here. And it works on a point system and everything. And the winner of that competition was the Fembots, as they were called, led by Vangelis, ironically. Vangelis, Aaron from TFW, Gabby, known as I'm trying to remember her screen name. I apologize, Gabby, if you're listening. And what was the other member of their team? There was another member of their team too, and they easily won. They did a very good job. I was very impressed with some of their answers, because always at the faction feuds, I'm the judge. So if there's anything that's kind of ambiguous when it comes to answers, I'm always there to say if it's yay or nay. And Vangelis actually said an answer that I didn't even think of initially, and it was a very good one, which was name a Transformer that has 2 personalities, but the 2 personalities are separate bodies. And he was drawing blank, and then he said, Reverse Megatron Rebirth Convoy. And that's like an extremely obscure Transformers Robot Masters OVA 1-episode appearance character.
He went Japanese.
Yeah, he went completely left field. And like me, I know this character, but I didn't think to put it on the list. You know, and he guessed, and I was like, "Wow, okay, yeah, give him the point." And so they won. They did a very good job, and their prize was they all won Aveo Swerves, the extremely rare Aveo Swerve Transformer toy from Chevy Aveo.
Awesome.
They also went into. Then there's a bonus round where if they win this question, everyone in their team wins a copy of Transformers War for Cybertron in the version of their choice.
Awesome.
So if they wanted to have it for Xbox or PS3 or Wii or whatever, we had it because Activision gave us donations of every game of every system.
And I'm betting nobody picked the Wii.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't win the bonus round.
Oh, dude!
Yeah, so a lot of people were depressed about that.
It's a really hard question.
How we do the bonus round, again, is similar to Family Feud, where the question is, it's a little complicated, I'll explain it, is we'll ask you a question, name a yellow Autobot. But it'll be like, name a yellow Autobot with high strength. Now, you have to think of an Autobot with high strength and name it. We take the number that say you said Bumblebee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bumblebee's strength is 2. So we take that number and we tally it against all the other questions, and you had to get over 21. So the questions were, name a high-endurance headmaster, a high-strength yellow Autobot, a fast Autobot tank, and what was the last one?
I don't
I'm trying to remember.
There's no such thing as a fast auto.
Yes,
tank.
that's what. But that's just it. That's why. So when people were like, "Oh my God, name a fast Autobot tank," and a fast scramble city piece, meaning like a combiner team.
Right.
Except for Devastator, because he's not part of Scramble City. And so, fast Autobot tank, and everyone's like, oh my God, Warpath? That's all that comes to mind, really, but is he fast? And then the best answer was Fast Track. He's a Micromaster, and he has a speed of 8. The strongest yellow Autobot, primary yellow, and I actually argue this myself, but they put Hot Rod on the list and Rodimus, and so that's a 10 right there.
Yeah, but he's not...
Exactly, it's not... Yeah, I know. I argue it, too. The second place was Sunstreaker, who has an 8. So, then you have the strongest the most endurance headmaster, obviously Fortress Maximus. Amazingly, a lot of people didn't guess that. A lot of people were like, "Oh, a lot of people were thinking everything but Fortress Maximus," which would be a no-brainer. Everyone was like, "Oh, is it Hardhead? Is it Brainstorm?" And everyone was like thinking like that instead of thinking about, "Hey, Fortress Maximus, the leader." obviously 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You know? So, but yeah, so, and obviously they didn't win because I believe for primary yellow Autobot, the question went to Aaron, and he kind of stumbled, and then he went, Pretender Bumblebee, you know, because he was thinking Bumblebee, 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 and then he's like,
Yeah.
well, what's a stronger Bumblebee? Pretender Bumblebee. And I think that was like a strength of 6 or something, which is not bad, but it's not great. The guess for the headmaster one went to Gabby, and she said Brainstorm, and that was like also low. It was like 5. For the fastest Scramble City piece, Vangelis guessed Groove, the motorcycle from the Protectobots, which is also like 5. Evangelist is like, what? He's a motorcycle. I mean, that's speed itself, you know? But anyway, apparently Blastoff is the fastest, which makes sense because he's a space shuttle, so they're actually faster. And then the last one, which was, I'm forgetting. Oh, the tank. Yeah, Fast Track. The Micromaster was the fastest.
Yeah.
They guessed Warpath, so just 2. So they didn't win, but at least they won Oveo Swerves, which was it was a bonus thing. You know, they could win extra prizes, but they all won Oveo Swerves, which is a value of $80 on eBay easily. So
yeah,
props to them.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the Saturday. Obviously, the beauty with TFCon is that the con doesn't end when the con ends. There's tons of bar parties and sketches going on. Derek Wyatt was doing sketches for everybody. We were all partying at the bar. A lot of fun to be had. There's tons of video of that online. If you go to Nemesis Predaking's YouTube channel, he recorded a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff that happens outside and around the convention.
Yeah.
Like the bar and stuff. So that was pretty cool. The Sunday opened up, and that was the TFCon /80s Expo, which is we give a chance for our dealers to also bring out their non-Transformer related products to sell too. So the morning of it, the custom class was happening alongside the convention, which is Dak. He runs a class where him along with Hasbro have a customized figure that's made as one of the exclusives for the show. And this year, the customized figure for this year that only 30 people were able to get into this class was UK Flash to accompany your UK/G2 box set from BotCon.
Oh,
so
cool.
They took the Oveo Swerve, and everyone in the room got an Oveo Swerve and was asked to cut it to pieces to make a UK Flash, and it looked very, very good. Repro Labels provided the stickers that add that extra touch to the figure to make it really look like the original UK toy. And that was very nice. It's a shame I wasn't able to be a part of that. Also, that was going on at the same time was because we had Mark Ryan as one of our guests, and he's the voice of Jetfire from Revenge of the Fallen and the voice of Bumblebee. And he also does all the voices of all the generic robots in Transformers. He gave a behind-the-scenes look and explanation of what's happening for Transformers 3.
Oh, really?
Because he's there on the set the entire time for all the generic stuff. He's kind of like the Frank Welker of the movies.
Right.
Because if there's a certain robot that's going to be screaming that has no purpose whatsoever or a sound effect, it's his job to do that. So he was talking about all, the process and what's going into Transformers 3 right now and how stuff's going on. And he was even showing some behind-the-scene scenes that weren't shown on the internet, although they showed up obviously a couple days later after TFCon. But he debuted like that floating shockwave head that everyone's seeing online.
Mm-hmm.
Like that showed up at TFCon first and everything. We also had the Hasbro panel where Hasbro showed off the new toys for next year. And so this was, again, a lot of stuff that a lot of people haven't seen yet, which was a lot of the new toys, 2-packs, and Hasbro explaining where a lot of these exclusive toys that are in the States are going to be showing up in Canada to help out some Canadians that are worried if they're going to be able to get their animated Rodimus or
Speaking of animated Rodimus, what do you think of the Takara version, considering it's pretty much the photoshopped image we originally saw of Rodimus, the mistransformed?
I would have to see it in person because I've seen a lot of the Japanese animated toys in person as opposed to when I saw them in photos.
Uh-huh.
And they look a lot nicer in person. Like a good example is I call him Ironhide because that's his Japanese name, but Bulkhead.
Right.
when you see him in pictures, it doesn't really come through because these are all shiny toys.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get that yummy glitter with a camera.
Well, the image that I saw was it. I don't know if it might have been an article on TFW. I'm not sure where I saw it, but I saw an image of pretty much season 3 colors for Rodimus, G1 season 3.
A lot of people are making the comparison to the original G1 toy that has that dark maroon already to begin with.
Right.
And a recent issue of, I'll tell you right now which magazine it was. I think it's called Teriyubu magazine, which has a lot of Japanese toys in it. They actually did a comparison photo of Japanese animated Rodimus next to G1 Rodimus to show the differences in colors and the similarities. I believe that image is up right now on TFW somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things that I can't really judge it until I see it in person. I've seen animated Rodimus in person multiple times now. So, and I could say that that's gorgeous, to say the least.
Lucky bum.
Yeah. But this one, I'm going to hold out because I know that, like, when I saw a lot of the animated stuff from Japan originally, I was kind of like, kind of shiny. But when I saw, like, and I know it sounds weird, but, like, the Bumblebee from animated in Japan is amazing. It's like they use like a gold tinge to it, and it's like a gold bug.
I know.
It looks really good. Again, like when I saw it in person, I was like, oh my god, I want to buy this.
Yeah, I so want to get it from BBTS. I really, really do.
Anyone listening, pick up the Bumblebee. I know the mold is kind of but really, like, that gold chrome works so well with that mold. I can't even stress it. Like, it's crazy.
As much as I like Bumblebee in the cartoon, when animated was still really big, like when Bumblebee had first come out here in the US, I was like, I'd seen like 3 or 4 different video reviews of him, and of course people don't always have the same figure, and it's quality control per figure. But some people are like, oh, the yellow doesn't really match up, the yellow doesn't do this, the yellow, and it really didn't do anything for me. And then I think I've told this story before. I was in Walmart one time and I saw a black Bumblebee and I'm like, what the hell is that? And it was Elite Guard Bumblebee. And of course we all know he never made it to Elite Guard, but they did just do the repaint anyway. And that's the only mold of the animated Bumblebee I have, or the only coloration of that mold that I have. So yeah, I really want the Japanese version.
The Japanese one is glorious. It really is. And that's just it. Going back to the animated Rodimus thing, it's one of those toys that I know I'm going to love it anyways. By bias.
Well, yeah, you are a fanboy, so.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that I really need to see it in person.
Yeah.
It's those and clear figures. Those are two kind of figures that you really have to hold them to get the full effect. I mean, photos do not do justice for clear figures, and they don't do justice for
yeah, I know we're kind of getting off the.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, sorry.
No. I mean, I know we're kind of getting off of TFCon, but. I'm just wondering, why did Takara do 2 Sons of Cybertron sets? They've got one in classics and then one in animated.
Originally, we found out about the animated one, and it was kind of like a no-brainer because it was part of this campaign that they were doing to celebrate 2010. And to celebrate 2010 is emphasizing anything that's Season 3 or Rodimus.
Right.
And so they did the animated set first, and we heard about that. And then this weird classics version showed up from the Philippines. Everyone freaked out and thought it was some Filipino exclusive or something. And even I freaked out because I was like, oh my god, like, I hope it's not that. But so, I don't know, they decided to go with both. I mean, the final list is we have Masterpiece Sleep Mode Convoy, which is Prime when he dies. And it has Rodimus in his wrist communicator when you open it up. Then we have, as you mentioned before, the Sons of Cybertron animated 2-pack, which has Rodimus in it. The Sons of Cybertron Classics 2-pack, which has Rodimus in it. Then we have the final 2 figures, which is a movie-accurate Unicron and a more budget put into the paint scheme Primus. And the cool thing about the Primus and the Unicron is their boxes, when you put them next to each other, they make a single image.
Yeah. And then we also have Challenge at Cybertron box set, which is pretty much classics Rodimus, but for US people anyway, it's pretty much classics Rodimus in actual hot rod colors.
Yeah.
Not
coming
purple.
with a Galvatron and a
The
Cyclonus.
Cyclonus, yeah.
I actually have 3 of those coming my way. I don't know, and anyone listening, if they have some reliable local people, I'm willing to somehow get rid of those extra Cyclonus and Galvatrons for a good price, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll have 1 set for myself, but I don't know what I'm going to do with 2.
I'll take one of the Cyclonuses just for alt mode because I've already got 1 set pre-ordered.
Is that what I don't know. The other 2 don't impress me too much. So
Well, the Cyclonus
I'll take the
impresses me.
Galvatron.
yeah, good, we got a
the,
Galvatron.
the
Excellent.
Cyclonus impresses me because it's not friggin' lavender like the
Yes.
Henkei version.
Yeah, the
and
Henkei
it's
one's really lavender.
yeah, and it's not super dark purple like the US version. So
Again, it's one of those things I guess I have to see in person.
yeah.
It's hard to tell. We only literally have the 1 image or the 2 images, and they're not exactly the most flattering. So.
Yeah. So what else
anyways,
happened on Sunday?
Moving on, we also had a panel that we always have every year. David Kay did a How to Get into Voice Acting panel, which a lot of people, because we've had this problem where every single voice actor we've ever had during their panel, we always get people going up to them, how do I get into voice acting? And it's become this ongoing joke within the staff. And then one day, one of the staff was like, well, why don't we just do a panel, how to get into voice acting?
Yeah.
And we did it with Dan Gilvezan originally. And Dan was completely up for it, and then it became a hit. Because Dan was very honest. He would tell people, you need to do this, you need to do that. Don't mimic, don't make mimicking your gimmick, because that doesn't work. You're voice acting, not voice mimicking. Like he was very honest, and I felt that it helped for people who want to break into this industry. So we did the same thing with David Kay. And David Kay, he brought his own expertise because he was at one point the new guy trying to get in, and he was telling his whole story about how he wanted to be part of that Vancouver crew, and what we refer to as that Vancouver crew is the Beast Wars crew, the Ian Corlett, the Gary Chalks, the Scott McNeils,
Richard
those guys,
Newman.
yeah, those guys were the Vancouver crew, and he wanted to get in with them, and he was a nobody at the time, David Kay, and so he learned that his gimmick was to mix characters together to make other characters. When he auditioned for Beast Wars Megatron, he was thinking of Sean Connery meets Cobra Commander with a little bit of Snake in it. So that's where the yes came from.
Yeah.
Although now it became yes, but it's just he kind of like mixed, he was kind of showing how he does his character creations for auditions, where he kind of just takes multiple characters, puts them together, puts them in a blender, and whatever he gets is what he uses. And again, it was very educational.
Is that the one with
Eric Bauza? I was about to bring
there
up.
we go. Okay, excuse me.
He was also joined by Eric Bauza. Now, Eric Bauza, because we had the 80s Expo, Eric Bauza is the voice of Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe.
Oh, awesome.
We managed to get him.
Resolute, right?
Yeah, Resolute. But here's the thing.
yes.
A lot of people don't know about Eric Bauza. He's also the voice of Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy.
Oh.
So, and here's another interesting piece of information. Derek Wyatt used to work on the character designs for the background characters of Ren and Stimpy. So, it was very interesting to have Eric Bauza there with Derek Wyatt, and it was funny because a lot of times people were asking Derek to sketch a Stimpy and then Eric to sign it. It was pretty cool, like, to get that. But Eric's a really cool guy. Like, he's again, being a guy who's worked in Ren and Stimpy, he has a very fun sense of humor, especially with the crowd. And he's very humbling, and he's very cool. And so it's always awesome. He actually came to TFCon last year, not as a guest, but as just an attendee. He just came to the show to check it out. And then Derek Wyatt, who was at our show last year, he spotted him, and he's like, oh, my God, Eric, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I don't know, I just came here. And then everyone just, like, bum-rushed him. Oh my God, you're the voice of Stimpy. This is before he did Resolute. He was just like the voice of Stimpy. He's like, you're the voice of Stimpy, and so people were bugging him. And then like, there's a video somewhere out there of like people are recording him doing the voice of Stimpy. And it's like, hey Ren, you be the pitcher and I'll be the catcher. Oh wait, that doesn't sound too good. Like, he's a very talented guy, and it was great to have him back at the show and now signing autographs as officially a guest. And since he did G.I. Joe, he did Tunnel Rat and he did Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
So it was pretty.
There is one thing that, and I don't want to start a war, but even though this comment will probably start a war, but there's one thing TFCon this year had that BotCon didn't.
What was that?
Big Bad Toy Store.
Oh yes, that's well. You know what? Big Bad Toy Store. Let me tell you, they filled TFCon with so many Star Wars toys. I can't even describe. I swear, they had like a wall of Star Wars toys. I've never seen so many Star Wars toys. Like
Now,
when we
someone
had that
like
80s
that,
Expo. What, excuse me?
I was going to say, someone, a company like Big Bad Toy Store that doesn't just deal in Transformers, how do you guys, as a Transformers convention, do you just allow them to display anything, or?
The rule is that Saturday's TF's only. That's the rule. And then Sunday, we allow people to then bust out their 80s stuff, because a lot of these guys are businesses, and they can't, some of these guys, like, their Transformer display might only be 7 figures.
Ooh.
So it's very difficult to buy a table for a weekend, and Saturday you pretty much have nothing, So we do kind of give a leniency for some people when their stock is very thin on the Transformers, but we always say, please, if you're doing this show, bring Transformers for the Saturday. But BBTS, man with the Star Wars, I swear, there's got to be a photo. There's got to be a photo out there somewhere of their Star Wars wall. I'm telling you, it's just like, I'm not over exaggerating, maybe 200 figures mint on card. Like, it was nuts. It was.
What is that? What's the order in Star Wars? Order that makes all the clone troops turn and make them work for the Emperor again?
The Sith?
No, the order that they give, Order 60.
Oh, Order 666, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. All those.
Yeah, it was nuts. They had so many, but they were there in full force. They brought tons of Transformers too, but just the Star Wars was mind-boggling that they brought. And so it worked out well, because we on the Sunday we also had the 501st Brigade, which are these Star Wars cosplayers, so they were all over the show on the Sunday. So they were doing good. Also on the Sunday was another one of my panels, The Truth of GoBots.
Yeah.
And this panel was pretty much to show what GoBots would have been if they stuck to the source material and not went with Hanna-Barbera. And that went over surprisingly well. I was not expecting this panel to actually get people in the seats. But surprisingly, a lot of people showed up for it, and someone recorded it, and it's going to be on YouTube sooner or later. So you'll be able to see, and it's PG-13. It's actually quite gory, the Truth of GoBots.
Yeah.
So just a warning in advance, because there was kids in the audience, and I actually looked at the parents and said, I'm just going to warn you in advance. Some people are going to get cut in half here. This isn't, Hanna-Barbera. This is Machine Robo. So, and I brought a whole bunch of toys for people to check out, and it went super well. I was actually quite shocked how well it went. There was also other panels. There was the costume design panel led by Misum, for people with Misum and Vanessa, the Black Arachnia chick, showing how to make costumes, what materials to use and stuff. Then there was the toy design panel by Marvin Marino. Now, Marvin Marino, a lot of people don't know his name, but they know his work and his infamy. Marvin Marino was one of the main designers on Reboot. He designed all the mecha-based stuff, the megabytes,
oh, sweet.
The binomes. He designed all of those. He would later go on in Mainframe to design Obsidian for Beast Machines.
Cool.
And that was it, in terms of Transformer-related stuff. But he designed an ass ton of stuff that never got used for Transtech. and he's one of the sole owners of some of the Transtech toy prototypes. So
wow.
He brought a whole bunch of interesting stuff to his toy design panel. He was pretty much showing history of his career, how he went about designing Obsidian, and some other characters that weren't used in Beast Machines. Like here's Obsidian in his first initial stage, and then he was showing like a lot of the Transtech stuff that didn't happen that we've seen on the net before, the Truck Monkey, Optimus and everything. But then he was showing like the Cheetor prototype toys and the Starscream and the Megatrons that later on became kind of the prototype for Armada Megatron. And that was a really interesting panel. And he has a book that he has with all his art and all his sketches and stuff that he was selling, and it was really worth it to check out that panel. It was really cool. Then we had a panel with Alex Milne from IDW teaching people how to draw Transformers, and pretty much Alex Milne style. To say Alex Milne's style is it's very his own, and it's very dynamic, and so he was teaching people how to kind of draw in that dynamic style, where he kind of starts from the center going out. Some people start with the head, some people start with the feet. Alex starts with the chest, and then he bleeds out in that direction. And so he was teaching people how to draw Transformers in that dynamic style of angling. And then the last panel was just the organizers panel, which was all of us staff just thanking everyone for the show, and hope to see them next year and any ideas or suggestions. And that was TFCon in a nutshell. And our show is crazy fun, and it was extremely successful. We actually got double the amount of people we got last year.
Mm-hmm.
The final numbers were about 3,500.
Awesome.
We almost sold out the comic book that I wrote. Where there's only, I believe, 15 copies left.
I'm expecting a signed one.
Yes, I have one aside. Funny thing, one of the attendees sold his on eBay with his Nightbird, and he got $175 for it. So I was like, wow, there's some value in these limited comic books, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great show. The exclusives were awesome. The guests were amazing. And again, the beauty of TFCon, and a lot of people, that was the beauty of it all, was BotCon really kind of messed up this year by putting BotCon in Disney World. So we got a lot of the guys in the States who live on the border crossing over, and they loved the show. They were won over by it. This was our chance to get a lot of these, Americans to cross the border and check out our show. And they were like, wow, it's not even about the show. It's about the after show. Because at the bar, you have Derek Wyatt and Mark Ryan, and they're just partying with you guys, where you would never have that. You would never have that.
Did David K party with you guys at all?
David K was actually in a different hotel completely.
Oh.
Because of the fangirls. Actually, not.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's the answer we give people, but it's actually because he was visiting family. So a lot of times he was at family reunions and stuff.
Right,
so
yeah.
It was harder for him.
I wish I'm going to try for this next year. Me, myself, the only reason why I didn't go this year was two reasons. Obviously, lack of fundage, and I need to get a replacement birth certificate, because technically, I guess you could say I was never born, because my birth certificate went through the washer about 15 years ago.
Ooh.
And so I got to get on that so I can get a passport. But my buddy Steve Megatron, who does, he co-created the Geekcast Radio Network with me here, and when we interviewed Kay, I said, "Hey Steve, why don't you show David, your thing?" And Steve does pretty much dead on Beast Wars Mega. I mean, it is so dead on. If the two of them were in a room conversing as that character, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So I'm hopefully I'm going to be able to find. Maybe you guys can get David back next year, because I'm hoping that
David and Scott McNeil and Lee Tokar are kind of those golden three that it's like if you don't got someone, we'll always be glad to show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
If ever we have problems getting a guest, well, that's why Mark Ryan was kind of our headliner, and it's like, hey, let's get David. So,
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? He's great. He's always willing to come back. People love him. This is his second time at TFCon, actually.
Awesome.
So he loves doing the show, and the fans love him too. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Wendell, what was your favorite part of this year's TFCon?
My favorite part was actually meeting some of the fans. I wasn't even on the Cybertron.ca boards, but I'm just conversing with people here and there, and they're very welcoming. They're very nice. Even the guests that they had were just really they were always willing to talk with you, and they were very fun to talk to. I remember Mark Ryan, I was talking to him at his table, and he was talking about his career, the comic book he was selling, and it was just really interesting to hear him talk and hear him see what he had to say about dealing with fans, and not dealing with fans, quote unquote, but how happy was he to have fans, to converse with them, to meet with them on such a grassroots kind of level. and I really had a lot of fun. I really like the fact that after I did the voice, the voice acting part, everyone's like, "Oh, look, there's animated jazz," and I'm like, "Oh, hey!" And then someone like made the joke, "Oh, look, there's Phil Lamar," and some people were like, "Wait, what? Really? That's Phil Lamar?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah, that's one thing that was hilarious about it, because someone yelled, "That's Phil Lamar," and well, because Wendell, black guy in a Transformer convention, who's going to argue it? You know? So, and there he was standing next to Derek Wyatt at Derek Wyatt's table. So everyone just kind of thought it was serious, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's Derek! It's Phil Lamar." It's like, no, it's not. We were joking. Joking.
It was funny because what really confused people is that the guy that dressed up as Jazz is there with us.
Oh.
That photo's on Facebook somewhere.
Yeah, I've been trying to get an interview with Phil for a while now. It's for our Justice League cartoon podcast because he voiced Green Lantern and stealing that, and I had a brainstorm, and I'm like, wait, I was like, wait a second, that's Jazz. I was like, holy crap. I can get him to do, hopefully, if I ever get the interview, I can get him to do promos for all things Transformers and ToyCast as Jazz. Holy shit. But sadly, it was kind of declined. I'm going to ask again here in a couple weeks and see if they can, if Mr. Lamar can accommodate like 25, 30 minutes for us to interview him.
He got other people before, so it won't be.
Well, yeah, no, I know. Oh, I tell you one thing. Hardest person to even, and we've talked about this off the air, Proto Man, and I'm not going to bring it up too much, but holy crap. There's only like 5 Beast Wars voice actors that we haven't gotten yet. Venus Terzo, Alec Willows, Jim Burns, crap.
Did you get Kuman or whatever his name is there?
Blue Man Kuma, no. Alright, so 6. The 6th one is the hardest person to get a hold of because I had an IMDb Pro free trial for a while, and there's no contact information for Scott McNeil, damn it.
Wow. And considering that, like, Scott McNeil's at, like, every freaking convention, and that's not an over-exaggeration, like, you just go to a random anime convention, Scott McNeil's on the list.
I know. And
he's everywhere.
I know, and that's the thing. It's like, we're at, like, tomorrow night, we're recording this Wednesday. We're going to be recording Beast Unleashed episode 17 tomorrow night. And it's like, we're 17 episodes into the Beast Unleashed podcast, which is the world's first ever Beast Wars Beast Machines review podcast on the entire Beast series. The only people that are reviewing that era of Transformers right now. I know that for a fact because it's not anywhere else on iTunes other than what we're doing. And it's like, damn it, we've already gotten Kay, we've gotten Chalk, we've gotten Ian Corlett, who I didn't think I would ever talk to Cheetor. I was shocked as all hell when Steve got that interview. But it's like, holy crap, why is Scott McNeil becoming my friggin' holy grail when it comes to interviews now? It's like,
and it's hilarious because I've, like, met him, like, 5 times, you know, like, and that's, I love Scott, he's a great guy, but in my mind, he's the easiest voice actor to get. Like, I went to an anime convention. I went to an anime convention in Montreal. He was there. I went to an anime convention in Toronto. He was there. I went to BotCon. He was there. I went to TFCon. He was there. It's like he's all over. I went to Fan Expo in Toronto. He was there. It's like, and I love Scott, but you could smell him coming. Let me tell you, that guy wears a lot of Aqua Velva. A lot of Aqua Velva.
Let's talk about Nightbird for a minute. I saw the only review I've seen of it was pretty much at convention. General Techno had done a little review of her, and honestly, no offense, I'm so glad I didn't spend the $140 on a 10D package.
I'll say this: it's a great figure, but yeah, I'll agree with the price. It's not.
She's so so small. She looks like she's a Scout class figure.
In robot mode, it's a little bit taller than a Scout class. It works with the RC. Like, I find that when you put the RC toy next to Classics Rodimus and Cup and stuff, it works in that scale. But I think for Nightbird, I think it falls short of being a little small. The only way we were able to, I think, justify the price was that because the RC figure was the same price at BBTS and everything, but
Yeah.
with the Nightbird you got extra stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Now I could
I mean,
like she came with 2 guns, 2 sais, a sword, 2 weapons clips, and if you went to the show for an extra $3, you got the exclusive comic book, which kind of like fleshed out explaining all these accessories and why she has the 2 guns and why she has the new
Right.
body. So
I
it kind of like if you were at the show, it was kind of justifiable. But yeah, non-attendees, forget about it. I can't imagine.
see that, I've mentioned this to you off air, and I know you don't do anything with the pricing and the packages and all that, but I wish for next year, I wish that they would include everything that an attendee package includes outside of actually being there, like the exclusive, the comic, and the T-shirt.
Yeah, that was like the big thing on eBay. A lot of people were like, if they were going to sell stuff on eBay, they sold their T-shirt, their attendees badge, the comic book signed by me because I signed every single book, and every single book I signed, I also drew Proto Man on the cover. So that was like kind of like the authenticator right there. It had the Proto Man drawing.
Why does that not surprise me?
But
Just had time to work on that.
yeah, I've had many years to practice that. But anyways, it's just, and that seemed like the whole package, but it's, this was the first year we were trying out non-attendees package.
Right.
And in the price also included shipping. So, like, that's the thing. We didn't charge extra for shipping. That was included in the price.
Right. That's
I don't know.
awesome.
I don't know the numbers for it, how well it did. But it's, I'm pretty sure we're going to consider that for next year. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. We like the whole process before we even got to Nightbird, let alone how the Nightbird that we even know that's our exclusive today. There were so many things we went through in terms of talking with different companies and what the exclusive was going to be and the color schemes. Like we would get a vague idea of what an exclusive would be, then we discuss what character it would be, and then by the time we would like settle on something, because we're talking 7 other staff members like butting heads about who the toy should be, on a profitable angle, on a recognizable angle, on a licensing angle, because the name too. And then like after that would all said and done, we'd find out, the guy who was providing the exclusive, let's say Impossible Toys, Fan Expo, whatever company, they'd fall through and say, oh, we can't do it in time this year, and so we'd have to move on to the next guy. And it took a while. And we were very fortunate for Impossible Toys to offer us this opportunity. Originally, the exclusive was just going to be a straight-up repaint of RC, done in Nightbird colors. And we were lucky enough to have Vanksa, who did the head mold sculpts and the changes of the weapons and the accessories, to give us this brand-new toy. And again, it's a great toy. But yeah, I agree with you. The price is a little high. Again, it's more justifiable if you're at the con for $125.
Yeah.
Where it includes your badge, getting the comic book, and getting into the convention for the weekend. Where $125 straight up just for the figure, that's a little more, difficult to swallow.
Yeah.
But we'll try to fix that next year. I know Powered Commander sold out no problem because the price was justifiable for a lot of people. We'll see.
Well, yeah, and plus he's a bigger figure, isn't he?
Oh, he's a huge figure.
Yeah.
He's like in terms of, if we're talking mass, maybe like 20 times, the size and like just in terms of plastic mass and weight, easily more so than Nightbird.
Yeah. Do we have anything else we want to say about this year's TFCon?
Well, it was a great show. Thank you, everyone who showed up. It was easily our biggest year ever. We had more exclusives, more guests, more people show up. We had more attendees. We had even like people bringing their customized Transformer cars. Some guy brought his customized Batmobile in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And he used a Porsche to do it.
944, right?
Yeah, the 944 Porsche. So, it was a really wacky turnout. It was a great year. It was bigger. I will honestly say this. Our deal room was bigger than BotCon's, and I could say that honestly, and everyone will agree with me who's gone to both this year. Our deal room was easily, I would say, 50% larger than BotCon's. what else? Like it was a great year. It was a great year. Thank you everyone who showed up, everyone who's listening, and stay tuned. We usually get the date for next year and the location very early.
I don't think you're gonna beat BotCon.
Oh yeah, well BotCon surprised us. They actually, for the first time in 7 years, they actually like revealed it instantly. Where TFCon usually we're the ones to reveal the dates first. But we're gonna have a date soon and a location and everything. It's still gonna be in Toronto. We might actually move the hotel because the convention has gotten so big. We actually need a bigger location now.
Yeah.
But that's all on the back burner. We're not sure yet. So, but just thanks everyone again, and hope to see you next year.
Wendell, do you have anything else you want to say about TFCon?
I wanted to say that was my first TFCon ever, and I was quite. Yeah, it was. I was really surprised how welcoming just the whole community in general was, and I really had a lot of fun. It was basically really easy to slip in and at least geek out about Transformers for 2 days. It was really, really great.
I bet. I wish I could have gone, but oh well. Oh, there's always next year.
Always next year.
It's like what Don Adams used to say. I missed it by that much. So thank you for joining us here on ToyCast. There are some ways to get in contact with us to leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. Join the forums, PredaconEmpire.com/Nexus. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. The show name there is TF ToyCast. Mine is TFG1 Mike. Wendell, do you have Twitter? Do you use Twitter at all?
Sadly, no.
Okay. Man, what's your Twitter?
Protoman X.
Did you ever find that real guy that stole it?
Nope.
Uh-oh. Become a fan on Facebook. Search Geekcast Radio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of ToyCast and wish you'll join us next time. Be sure to visit BigBadToyStore.com for all your Transformers, toys, and other related needs. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with Protoman, and what's your screen name again, Wendell?
Jaws Deadeye.
Thank you for listening. Until next time. Wow, that is a train wreck. Holy crap.